She worked hard, paid her taxes, helped her neighbors, and dreamed of a peaceful life. But within months, everything fell apart. Bills piled up, credit cards maxed out, and eviction notices arrived without warning. How can honest, hard-working people end up bankrupt? This is the silent story of millions of Americans, a real journey through unseen choices, system traps, and the possible path back to financial stability. The early warning signs were subtle and easy to overlook, almost invisible to Lisa at first. It started with a late payment on her electric bill, just a few days past due. She shrugged it off, thinking it was a one-time mistake. Then came the overdraft fees on her checking account after a few unexpected expenses. Still, Lisa believed things would balance out by the next paycheck. But these small cracks in her financial foundation quickly grew into gaping holes. Like many Americans, she never imagined these minor setbacks would lead her down a dark path toward bankruptcy. Statistics reveal a harsh reality: nearly 60% of adults in the U.S. live paycheck to paycheck, barely able to cover their monthly expenses. Even more alarming, about 40% don't have even $400 in savings to handle an emergency. This precarious financial position means that a sudden car repair, a medical bill, or even a lost workday can trigger a cascade of unpaid bills and growing debt. Lisa's story is not unique. It reflects a silent crisis affecting millions of hard-working, honest people who find themselves trapped in a system that often feels rigged against them. What makes this descent so dangerous is how quietly it happens. The stress starts as a low hum in the background of daily life but quickly grows into a deafening roar that drowns out rational thinking. Lisa began to experience sleepless nights, constant anxiety, and a persistent feeling of dread. She stopped opening mail to avoid the confrontation with overdue notices. Emotional pressure pushed her to make decisions she never thought she would, borrowing from payday lenders with sky-high interest rates, putting essentials like groceries and medications on credit, and even skipping car maintenance, which only added to her problems. Experts warn that this emotional toll is a major factor driving financial collapse. According to a 2023 survey by the National Endowment for Financial Education, over 70% of individuals experiencing financial hardship report increased levels of depression and anxiety, which in turn impair their ability to make sound financial choices. Emotional decision-making becomes a vicious cycle, where desperation leads to riskier behavior, worsening the debt spiral. Lisa's story also exposes the systemic challenges many face. The current financial system often lacks sufficient consumer protections for vulnerable individuals. High-interest lending, aggressive debt collection practices, and limited access to affordable financial counseling create barriers rather than solutions. For Lisa, navigating these obstacles felt overwhelming and isolating. Yet, recognizing these early signs and accepting the reality of financial trouble is the critical first step. Lisa's journey toward recovery began when she finally admitted she was struggling. This admission is often the hardest hurdle. Pride, fear, and stigma keep many from seeking help. But it opens the door to practical solutions. In this chapter, the key lesson is awareness. Understanding the subtle signals of financial distress, like missed payments, increasing debt, and emotional stress, is essential. It's not just about seeing the red flags but having the courage and knowledge to act before the damage becomes irreversible. Lisa's story is a mirror reflecting millions of silent struggles. The question she, and countless others, face is, how can they break free before falling deeper into the financial abyss? The answer lies ahead, in strategies rooted in education, discipline, and accessible support systems. As the crisis deepened, Lisa made a decision that would change everything. She reached out for guidance. This moment of vulnerability marked the turning point between despair and hope, the first step on a difficult but possible path toward rebuilding financial stability. What follows will explore real strategies and tools to help people like Lisa identify their risks early and reclaim control over their finances, because recovery starts with knowledge, courage, and action. John never imagined that years of steady work and careful budgeting could end in financial ruin. A dependable factory worker in a small Ohio town, he prided himself on being the rock for his family, a provider who paid bills on time, saved when possible, and avoided unnecessary risks. But life, as it often does, threw him an unexpected curveball. When his daughter fell seriously ill, medical bills began piling up rapidly. At the same time, the factory where John worked faced massive layoffs due to shifting markets and automation. Suddenly, the security he once took for granted vanished. John's story is not unique, it's the harsh reality for millions of Americans navigating a fragile economic landscape. Data from the American Bankruptcy Institute reveal that medical expenses contribute to more than 60% of personal bankruptcies in the U.S. This staggering statistic exposes a system where even those with insurance can be overwhelmed by out-of-pocket costs, deductibles, and ongoing treatments. John's mounting medical debt was only one part of the crisis. His loss of stable income, combined with underemployment, working fewer hours for less pay, pushed him closer to the edge. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that nearly 12 million Americans are either unemployed or underemployed, a figure that masks the precarious financial state of millions more who are barely scraping by. Financial experts point to a combination of factors behind such collapses. Emotional spending, often driven by stress and anxiety, can lead to unnecessary expenses or high-interest borrowing. The absence of an emergency fund leaves families vulnerable when disasters strike. And predatory lending practices trap many in cycles of debt. John, like so many others, found himself juggling credit card balances, payday loans, and mounting interest fees, each payment becoming more difficult to meet than the last. Studies show that financial literacy is a powerful tool in preventing these downward spirals. According to the National Endowment for Financial Education, individuals with higher financial knowledge are significantly less likely to experience severe financial distress. Yet, access to quality financial education remains uneven, especially in lower-income communities. John's turning point came when he enrolled in a local financial counseling program that taught him budgeting skills, debt management, and the importance of building an emergency fund. This knowledge gave him a roadmap out of the chaos. John's recovery journey also involved negotiating with creditors to reduce interest rates and consolidating debt into manageable payments. He learned to distinguish between wants and needs, cutting unnecessary expenses and creating a sustainable budget. Emotional resilience played a key role as well, overcoming shame and fear to seek help and commit to change. His story is a testament to the fact that bankruptcy is often not caused by a single event but by a complex web of challenges, many of which are systemic and beyond individual control. In the face of such overwhelming odds, what can people do? John's experience highlights that understanding the root causes of financial failure, health emergencies, job loss, emotional spending, and lack of education, is the first step toward empowerment. By addressing these factors head-on, individuals can avoid common pitfalls and begin building a more secure financial future. As John's story shows, recovery is possible with the right combination of education, support, and determination. His path from near ruin to renewed stability offers hope and practical lessons for anyone struggling with similar challenges. Maria always believed she could fix her financial troubles on her own. After losing her job at a retail store in Texas, she watched her savings vanish as bills piled up. The pressure was unbearable, but the turning point came when a friend introduced her to a community program offering financial coaching. Maria's story mirrors that of many Americans who, despite setbacks, find hope through practical recovery strategies. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 25% of adults in the U.S. have sought help for debt or financial problems at some point, demonstrating the growing awareness of the importance of support systems. Experts emphasize that the first step is creating a realistic budget, tracking every dollar to regain control. Maria learned to prioritize essential expenses, negotiate with creditors for lower payments, and build a payment plan targeting high-interest debts first. Incorporating small but consistent actions like cutting discretionary spending and seeking side income made a huge difference. Over time, Maria's credit score improved, and her stress decreased. Her journey proves that recovery is not instant but achievable with discipline and support. The lessons from Maria's experience offer actionable strategies for anyone stuck in a financial rut, highlighting that no matter how deep the hole, there's a way out. Emma had always struggled with money, not because she didn't earn enough, but because she lacked the knowledge to manage it wisely. Growing up in a family where financial topics were taboo, she never learned about budgeting, saving, or investing. Like many Americans, Emma's financial literacy was limited, and this gap nearly cost her everything. According to a 2024 study by the FINRA Investor Education Foundation, nearly two-thirds of American adults are financially illiterate, lacking basic knowledge of interest rates, inflation, and risk diversification. This lack of education leaves people vulnerable to making costly mistakes that can spiral into financial disaster. Emma's turning point came when she attended a free financial literacy workshop offered by her local library. There, she learned fundamental principles that changed her perspective: how to track expenses, set realistic goals, and avoid common traps like payday loans and credit card misuse. The workshop emphasized the importance of creating an emergency fund, a lesson Emma had never considered vital until a car breakdown wiped out her savings. The emotional relief she felt once she had a safety net was profound. Beyond individual knowledge, experts stress that financial education helps people develop the confidence to make informed decisions. It reduces stress and anxiety linked to money management and breaks the cycle of poor financial habits passed down through generations. For example, a report from the National Financial Educators Council shows that individuals who receive consistent financial education save 20% more and carry 30% less debt than those who do not. Emma's story illustrates how education can be transformative. She began using budgeting apps, reading books on personal finance, and even joining online forums to share experiences and tips. This community support reinforced her commitment and provided practical advice. Over time, Emma moved from surviving paycheck to planning for the future, investing in retirement accounts, understanding credit scores, and setting up college funds for her children. Importantly, financial education is not a one-time fix but a lifelong journey. The landscape of money management constantly evolves with new tools, regulations, and opportunities. Continuous learning enables individuals to adapt, avoid scams, and make choices aligned with their values and goals. Emma's progress shows that access to quality financial education can empower anyone, regardless of background or income level, to avoid common financial pitfalls. It is the most powerful weapon against the silent forces that lead many honest, hard-working people to bankruptcy. David always thought his 9-to-5 job would be enough to secure his family's future. But when layoffs hit his industry in California, he realized relying solely on a paycheck was risky. Struggling to cover expenses, he decided to explore additional income sources. David's story reflects a growing trend: millions of Americans are turning to side hustles and smart investments to build financial resilience. According to a 2023 Gallup poll, nearly 45% of U.S. workers engage in some form of gig work or side business, showing how crucial alternative income has become. Experts emphasize that diversifying income reduces dependence on any single source and cushions against economic shocks. David started small, delivering groceries on weekends and freelancing online. These efforts not only brought extra cash but also boosted his confidence and skills. Gradually, he educated himself about investing. Starting with low-cost index funds and employer-sponsored retirement plans. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission reports that individuals who invest consistently over time see average annual returns around 7%, helping grow wealth beyond what savings alone can achieve. Importantly, David learned to balance risk and reward. He avoided get-rich-quick schemes and prioritized long-term strategies, understanding that patience and discipline are key. Side hustles also taught him valuable lessons about budgeting, time management, and entrepreneurship. For many, these supplemental activities create opportunities for career growth and financial independence. The path wasn't without challenges. David faced exhaustion and occasional setbacks, but the payoff was worth it. His diversified income streams provided a safety net and increased his financial flexibility. More than that, they gave him control over his future, reducing anxiety about job security. David's experience demonstrates that combining steady employment with side income and smart investing is a practical method to build a more secure financial life. These strategies empower people to withstand downturns and take advantage of new opportunities, turning financial instability into potential growth. Opos nos lutando contra incerteza financiera, Lisa finalmente sentiu que estava construindo futuro estável. Morando Denver, ela enfrenta perdas de emprego, despesas inesperadas e momentos de dúvida, mas sua persistência valeu a pena. A história de Lisa reflete a importância vital de manter a estabilidade financeira a longo prazo, uma meta que muitos almejam, mas poucos alcançam sem planejamento cuidadoso e disciplina. De acordo com uma pesquisa de 2025 do Federal Reserve, Fed. Quase 40% dos americanos ainda não têm economia suficiente para cobrir uma emergência de $400, destacando o quão frágil a segurança financeira pode ser. A jornada de Lisa ensina que a verdadeira estabilidade não se trata apenas de ter dinheiro hoje, mas de criar hábitos e práticas que perduram. A base de estabilidade de Lisa era plano abrangente que envolvia orçamento, poupança regular e investimentos inteligentes. Ela continua a construir seu fundo de emergência, garantindo que cobrisse pelo menos 6 meses de despesas essenciais, uma referência recomendada por consultores financeiros. Essa reserva lhe deu tranquilidade diante de incertezas econômicas como inflação e flutuações do mercado. Especialistas concordam que manter a liquidez enquanto investe para o crescimento é auto de equilíbrio essencial para a segurança a longo prazo. Lisa também adotou educação financeira contínua, mantendo-se informada sobre mudanças na legislação tributária, opções de aposentadoria e oportunidades de investimento. Ela diversificou sua carteira entre acos, títulos e imóveis, reduzindo riscos e aumentando o retorno potencial. O princípio de diversificação, respaldado por décadas de pesquisa, continua sendo uma das estratégias mais eficazes para proteger o patrimônio contra a volatilidade do mercado. Além disso, Lisa se concentra em minimizar dívidas, quitar cartões de crédito com juros altos e evitar empréstimos desnecessários. Essa abordagem libera mais dinheiro para poupança e investimentos. A resiliência psicológica também desempenhou papel importante. Lisa cultivou hábitos de paciência, disciplina e flexibilidade, entendendo que contratempos poderiam ocorrer, mas não precisavam atrapalhar seu progresso. Acima de tudo, Lisa planejou o futuro além de si mesma. Ela criou fundos para a faculdade dos filhos e contribuiu consistentemente para contas de aposentadoria. O planejamento patrimonial, incluindo testamentos e fundos fiduciários, fazia parte de sua estratégia para garantir a segurança da família por muito tempo após sua partida. A história dela exemplifica que construir e manter a estabilidade financeira é compromisso para a vida toda, que exige educação, planejamento estratégico e força emocional. Não é resultado reservado aos ricos, mas alcançável por qualquer pessoa disposta a aprender e agir com sabedoria.